All right, good morning, everybody. How's it going? It's the last panel of the day. It's been a hot one. You guys have been a great audience. Why don't you guys give yourselves a round of applause for making it through this. I can feel the heat right here. It's crazy hot and bright, too. But we're going to be talking about changing fiat into Bitcoin, which is a lot like alchemy, right? We're going to change lead into gold, fiat into Bitcoin. And we're going to find out how we do it here. How do you change fiat into Bitcoin, and where do you do it?
Sure. So I'm Benoit. We're based in London, and we are the largest teller, so Bitcoin ATM service. We have 20 agents, so see it as a Western Union for cryptos. So that's what we do.
I'm Michael. We operate EasyBit. It's an ATM company. We have some ATMs in about 19 different countries. You can put fiat in and get crypto out, or put crypto in and get fiat out.
Hi, my name is Uwe. I'm from Unix. We are out of Austria, the digital company of the Austrian State Printing House. So we are a little bit untypical, but we produce high security paper wallets. So you can use that in order to go to the ATM, present the card, put the cash in, and walk away with money on your as Bitcoin or Ether or Neo or whatever blockchain the ATM is supporting.
I have my own. My name is Max. I represent the peer-to-peer non-custodial exchange HODL. So I already spoke about it, and that's mostly how we do the exchange via multi-sig contracts that we're generating for each unique trade.
You're all sitting in the wrong seats. Oh, well. But first we're going to start with Know Your Customer, or KYC. I know in the United States we have a lot of laws. You have to identify yourself before you buy Bitcoin. Local Bitcoins used to be a way to get around that, but they don't even offer cash anymore. Does your service offer KYC?
So we do KYC from £500, which is around maybe 700 euros. In order to comply to the AMLD4 anti-money laundering regulation, and that's 1,000 euros in cash. Above that, you have to take a copy of the passport or the ID.
Okay, so you still could buy smaller amounts without having to provide your information.
Correct. For now.
For now.
I'm going to keep it to our major market, which is the United States. I can't discuss 19 different countries' specific anti-money laundering laws, but in the United States, KYC starts at $1. If someone is to transact $1 and use this $1 to buy a poker chip on a poker website, you have now laundered money for this person. And land of the free, exactly. So unfortunately, in the United States, we have to know our customer at $1. And the more money you put into our machine, the more we know you. And we don't have limits per se. We have people that will do tens of thousands of dollars per week through the machine, but we know exactly who they are. So far as in the United States market, there is no option other than full KYC on every customer from $1. The machines don't accept coins.
We provide a video identification service for platforms who need to do KYC. And since in Austria the regulation is not clear on the limit when you have to, it starts at about 250 euros, starting at 1,000, depending on the risk appetite. But we also service ATM providers in Hong Kong, where the limit is like 20,000 euro or 200,000 Hong Kong.
Wow.
So you can walk in, put the money in, pay 7% fee on that transaction, but walk away with 20,000 Hong Kong, 20,000 euro without having KYC necessities.
So depending on the market, you can still buy small amounts without KYC.
Yeah, we don't do KYC because.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah, we are not regulated. We are reckless. But due to two factors, we don't operate in US, which we actually believe saves us a lot of time and a lot of resources. And also because we're non-custodial, so we only hold one key out of 3, and we literally cannot move coins, and we don't store anything in our wallets. We don't have them actually, our wallets, so that's why we don't do KYC. We have this option on our exchange if you want to increase limits, or if you are a huge OTC dealer and you're willing for us to match you with other OTC dealers. And like for most of the OTC dealers that use our exchange, they request to do KYC/ML because they're licensed in different countries. In that sense, we are serving as a technical escrow provider, just providing a technical tools, but yeah, we don't request KYC/ML.
So Max, for your system, people can buy Bitcoin online. When you do the cards, do they only do cards in person? Or do you also have a way where maybe you could send me one of the cards in the mail?
We are only a B2B provider, so we provided 2 ATM providers who then sell it to their end customers or to exchange or platform providers, and they give it to their customers, basically. So we are not having a B2C customer base or business. But ultimately, I still think that a certain regulation or a certain KYC, in order to attract mass adoption or also institutional money, is necessary just to be also compliant and to also attract more or less the institutional money, which helps us to really grow the space over our already existing established base. And therefore, I think, yeah, you don't need to KYC or need to regulate a lot, but in certain areas and also to expand our business gradually, we need to think about it and really need to implement it as well.
So it sounds like in Austria, the regulations are still unclear. Let me ask the rest of the panel, would you support additional regulation to make the market clear, or do you prefer it unregulated?
I would much prefer it be unregulated, obviously, but if we want mass adoption, and when we're talking about regulation and mass adoption, we have to also think about consumer protection and knowing what's going on for the average customer. Sure, I know how to secure my Bitcoins. I can actually kind of laugh at that because I've lost more Bitcoins than I can count, but the average consumer cannot, and they should never be expected to be a nerd and to know how to do all this. So ultimately, we need things to be regulated. We need clear, concise, direct regulations so that businesses can compete on a fair scale. It's not fair that me, as a small ATM company in the United States, have to spend 30 or 40% of what we make on legal, on compliance, trying to figure out what we're doing. And every year, HSBC, with their 500 lawyers on full-time staff, just pay a couple $1 billion fine. We need nice, clear regulations so that it's not selectively enforced, so that they can't decide that, oh, okay, well, you're not bothering us right now, so we're not going to make a problem. But whenever we decide to, we can, because nobody's telling us what to do, what not to do, or how to do it. If you want to open a check cashing store, you go and you get a license, and it says this is how you have to operate, this is what the license costs, these are the regulations, this is how it works. When you go and you open a Bitcoin ATM, and again, I'm speaking in the United States specifically here, nobody tells you what you can and can't do. You have to hire lawyers to guess and give you opinions that nobody's even really sure about. And yeah, so I believe that regulation is a good thing. We don't need over-regulation. It shouldn't be, crazy, but regulation is good, and it allows everybody to be on an equal playing field so that instead of only the big people that have special legal teams and lots of money can enter, it allows for more innovation. So let's regulate things more, in my opinion.
So I tend to agree with Michael. A bit of regulation is good for consumer protection and all these things. I tend to disagree with I forgot your name, sorry. Uwe. We don't need KYC from the first euro or first pound, because to really have mass adoption, you need to make it super easy.
Yep. So
to be able to get access, so that's what we try to do, to buy at corner stores and to really democratize the access. You don't need to give your passport to buy 20 pounds or 20 euros of Bitcoin. So it kind of killed the whole excitement around cryptos.
The experience. You tell people we've got this amazing non-government, non-corporation money, but you have to put your driver's license in before you even buy $10 worth. certainly in the U.S. So it is great that you have that option in the UK or in Austria to buy small amounts so that the person can try out the machine without feeling like they're getting the third degree.
And
right?
especially for emerging countries where some people have no documents or find it too difficult to just fill a form. Yeah, you need some kind of inclusion and make it super easy to give them access to cryptos as they don't have access to the basic financial services like a bank account because they don't interest banks, they're too poor.
Yeah. Now, Max, you're pretty much unregulated as a decentralized exchange. Do you welcome regulation? What do you think about what's happened with Binance recently? They're shutting down the US customers. The regulation has finally come to Binance.
Well, I got the point that some businesses actually require regulation, and I'm not saying it's bad, but the problem is not in having or not having the regulation. The problem is that I doubt that the current legacy financial system can create a proper regulation for crypto companies. It's a myth, and you are dreaming at the moment because people who regulate large banks, as my colleague already told, they won't be able to create a proper regulation for crypto. Everyone would love to play by the clear rules, but the problem is that they won't do that and just stop dreaming about it. And because
you don't think that we have any lawyers who are experts in decentralized distributed systems ready to step up and write the perfect regulations for your exchange?
I think business owners should write the regulation for crypto. Crypto people from crypto, they should do that, and that's it. We shouldn't opt in like the traditional system. They need to listen to us because we're building the new system. And the regulators that been there like for how many years? 500 years with the 500 years old legacy banking system. I doubt that they will be able to create something new.
Well, and it took them a long time to get those regulations right. Banking has gone on, like you say, for 500, even longer, and they're still regulating it. People are still finding scams and ways to get around the regulations, like the savings and loans and all these kind of things.
Well, there will be people who are happy with regulation. There will be people who are unhappy. But I think that if we will have clear rules that will be easy to maintain, even for non-custodial exchange, for example, like you have some kind of limits, like first 1,000 shouldn't be KYC-ML, for example. Then we should. Most probably will have the mass adoption, but at the moment I don't see any pros for like the regulation that they're doing at the moment because they're just taking the rules that they imply on huge corporations and they're like putting them on small companies and startups. And was correct point, you have a small company, you're running this company, you're basically trying to break even, and then some kind of big fat cat comes to you in a suit and says, I will regulate you the same way that I regulate the bank with 500 lawyers working like 24/7.
We probably spend 30% of our revenue on, or not of our revenue, of our income on legal, and it's just ridiculous.
Now, what about scams? A friend of mine operates a Bitcoin ATM in England, and all the time he has these people coming in, and they're on their phone, and they look really nervous, and they start just throwing money to the machines, thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds into the machine. Then my friend says, hey, what are you doing? And they say something like, my husband's been kidnapped, or the government wants me to pay taxes in Bitcoin. And these people, of course, haven't been contacted by the government. Their husband's just having a day off, and they're sending the money, which, of course, Bitcoin is one way to a scam. Should Bitcoin ATM companies, should they try to stop these scams? My friend has a big warning label on his. One time he had to pull the plug to get the lady to stop feeding the money, and she was so
I have a really
about
good story about this one.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, Georgia, about 3 years ago, we had a technician that was servicing one of our ATMs, and there was about 4 people waiting in line, and the first person in line was this lady, and she was buying I think it was an RV, and it was supposed to be $60,000, but she was getting it for $15,000 if she sent the Bitcoin within the next 1 hour, this kind of stuff. And the technician sitting there telling her, you understand you're getting ripped off. Bitcoin is irreversible.
Yep.
And so he calls me, and he says, Mike, I just finished fixing the machine. I'm about to put it back online. and this lady is going to put $15,000 in there, and she's for sure getting scammed. And so my question to him was, well, did you explain all of this to her? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
But is it really, I mean, I'm not the government, I'm not the police. Is it my job to actually prevent someone? Is it not actually incorrect if I were to pull the plug and prevent someone from getting scammed if they're aware they're getting scammed?
Especially since it's your business to operate the ATM. You make a small amount of fees. The more scam money they put into it, the more money you'd make.
Well, that's not true, because every time somebody puts money in there that gets scammed, we end up having to deal with the police and FBI and filing reports and legal BS and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we're no different than a regular bank ATM. If you take money out of it and you go and buy guns or drugs or something, nobody goes to Bank of America and says, hey, why did you give these guys this cash? But because it's Bitcoin, we just get scrutinized a lot.
Well, remember, Charlie Shrem was in all that trouble for the Silk Road, and they were selling the Bitcoins there. It was the same thing. If Bank of America sells you the Bitcoins or the dollars, and you go buy drugs with it, no one comes after the bank.
My last point will just be that I don't believe it's my job to pull the plug on someone that's aware of what they're doing. It's not my job to educate you on what you're doing with your money. It's nobody goes to the casino and says, hey, you realize that you have a 50% chance of losing your money here. It's not my job.
I
if
do.
you want to gamble
Every
or-
time I feel that, and I wish I could pull the plug on all the machines.
But it's the same with the banking system as well. We do KYC for banks, and we do have scams where people do account openings via the internet and not knowing what they're doing actually. So at the end of the day, it's not only a topic for the crypto area, it's also a topic for the whole financial industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think what Bitcoin ATM or Bitcoin teller services are providing is really to give access, very easy access to Bitcoin for people who struggle to register online, or for some reason they want to buy quickly with cash. So I have retired people who call me and say, oh yeah, we want to buy Bitcoin, so
Yeah.
how does it work? And I love to kind of educate people. And of course, if I would always say to my cashiers, to the merchants, like if you see someone who looks really stressed, try to try to know what's happening, and to of course avoid the scam and not to do transaction. I had to refuse a transaction once from a panicked woman who was willing to give 3,000 pounds. So
It's terrifying, and they're just willing to send that money away, and it'll be
but
gone
I think,
forever.
Yeah, it's really about giving access to people, and for sure there's scam in every industry now.
So pretty much our closing question for this panel, we've already talked about how clear regulations would help you. Is there anything else that you guys need that you would want from the community? What would help your business in Bitcoin ATMs and as well in cards and decentralized exchanges? So,
Me to find a group of stores, like retailers, and to be everywhere at each like supermarket. So allowing people to buy Bitcoin super easily, and in the next 5 to 10 years, they will use their Bitcoin to spend, to have crypto payment. But I think we have this first phase where, for me, the next big thing is to have this mass adoption. So the non-tech savvy, which is at maybe 95% of the population, and that's why for that Bitcoin ATM is a very nice access for these people.
I don't really care about fiat into Bitcoin that much. What we need to do is the same thing that I said 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, or whenever I first started playing with this magical money, or whatever we want to call it. Tell some friends, teach other people how to use it. That's the most important thing you can do. And if you have any business in Bitcoin, it doesn't matter what that is, getting more people involved will only make everybody richer. So teach people. Tell people about Bitcoin. Take 10 minutes and teach them. I mean, with our ATMs, we've had over 10,000 customers. I guarantee you at least 20 or 30% of those were the first time they ever used Bitcoin. We had support staff that would spend 30 minutes on the phone with a customer, walking them through, waiting there, holding their hand while they were waiting for a confirmation, just so that the first time their experience wasn't bad. So I don't think it's about buying Bitcoin. I think it's about all the services around it. And the best thing you can do is don't scam people, don't play games, and educate others about Bitcoin so that they can join us. And that's how we will all be off better.
Yeah.
I also totally agree. One topic is education. That leads to getting rid of the scammers in the whole space, because that kills more or less also the trust into this technology, into the currency, into tokenization projects as a whole. And I think tokenization is some of the key topics, and one really big project, global project of tokenization would really help the whole industry as well.
Yeah, education, spreading the word. Also, not storing your bitcoins on centralized exchange would be nice, because not your keys, not your bitcoins, as you know. So yeah.
I have my Bitcoins very safely stored at Mt. Gox. Nobody could steal them.
It's a great place. He keeps the private keys underneath his cat. It's very secure. But we'd just like to go ahead and thank the panel so much. And I think we're at the end of day one. So I don't know if Theo's here to come back. But otherwise, I hope to see you guys again tomorrow for more talks and more speeches. And let's all go have a drink, right? All right.
Crown coin for the world.